Hey everybody, Mr. Pace, candidate for the Woodman Hills Metro District Board. I have been busy today on Facebook, and I am going to basically cease working on that website. I know that you're probably listening to my voice and wondering, geez, he sounds a little somber. Well, I do. I put on the glasses because this is kind of important. What I have in front of me is memorandums from a few situations here that a lot of people may or may not know of. And yeah, so we have 1 and 2. All right, so what I did is I wanted to talk about the audit. And the reason I want to do that is because here I have the dates of February 28, 2017, March 7, 2017, and basically this is the Chad Snyder of KeyBank and Josh Cheesebro of Stockman and Cass. So basically what this outlines is that basically our bonds were predicated on the ability of us to get tap fees. And I understand that, and I understand that they were counting on certain things to come through. Well, because of the situation in Woodman Hills with the current board and its hostile effects out here, which I've talked about before, and no one listened. And I said that if you can't play well in the sandbox, we're going to have a problem. And we have incumbents in a board who do not play well with others in the sandbox. So now, a few things that we're going to go over. 5 major areas would be Bentgrass, Courtyards, Falcon Highlands Metro District, Paintbrush Hills Metropolitan District, and Four-Way Ranch. Basically, we're going to go over some issues that were in basically the audit for 2017, which they did not want to release. I want to make that clear. They did not want to release that document. And I can tell you why, because there was a material change in the financial condition of this district. They knew about it, and they knew about it early on, okay? How far early on they knew about it is up for debate. I have information before the bonds were done that they knew there would be a material change. That's for me and somebody else to go over. I'm going to take it to a little bit of a higher authority. I think it needs to be looked into. Bentgrass. They've stopped building houses. The issue is they're basically not in compliance with the inclusion agreement they signed, okay? Which is they're not putting in the wells, and those wells cost a few $1 million, and they don't want to cough it up, okay? And I've made that clear from the Jump Street that, well, it's on my website, okay? You know how I feel about that. So we've collected a little bit of money, but nowhere near the $8.5 million that were owed, so that's a stick in the mud issue. So what they did, from what I understand, they came in and basically told us, if you don't play ball with us, we're not going to build any more houses, and we're going to play hardball. And they wanted us to let them out of their wells. Well, they got us by the balls. No two ways around it, because nobody in the last 10 years made them live up to their agreement and put those wells in. So let me ask you a question. Name a board member that's been on the board for in those years that didn't make them do what they were supposed to do. Name that board member, okay? I know who it is, and you do too, okay? So if you want to start looking at the reason why we're having a little bit of difficulties is because of the secrecy, the secrets, and the information kept from the public was kept from the public by a board member who is now trying to get her husband on the board. So this ex-board member is basically done what I said happened. It's right here in writing. I just didn't have the documents, and I love documents because we got plenty of them. So if you want to talk about the Bentgrass situation, Bentgrass was also the developer who attacked me in the last 3 elections. So got to take that with kind of a grain of salt. And I'll be talking to Randy Case here at one of the board meetings, asking him, because they wanted us to make a new deal, let them out of their inclusion agreement, let them out of the well agreement, and let them out of all of that. And basically, we said no. And I don't know where that went, but I do know that the rumor has it from an attorney that I spoke to who is not Randall Case, who is close in dealing with the situation, is they don't like the board members of Woodman Hills. That's it. especially one certain board member who certainly doesn't play well in the sandbox with others. Okay? I think you might know who that person is. Courtyards West forecasted to have a certain amount of water. The landowner has not indicated that development will continue. I do know that they are building houses over there, so that may have turned around. Falcon Highlands, 350 lots. Do not know where that sits at the present. Paintbrush Hills, I know that they're working on building some things. Okay? Then, the issue is that Paintbrush Hills only pays us a small fraction of the money for the tap fees pursuant to the agreement. The big one, Four-Way Ranch. $2 million. And we all know what kind of crud that's in right now, right? Besides the recall and everything else they got going for them, they certainly don't want to build a lift station and a few other things. And I don't blame them because, quite frankly, they don't have the money. So that puts us at a real big time disadvantage. And then they came over here crawling to us asking them to say, forget the money. And the board almost did it. And if it wasn't for everybody showing up at 10:30 in the morning, dollars to donuts, it would have took place. Not while Ron was on it, because I made sure everybody was there. Okay? Candidate Ron made sure everybody was there. So now we have recommendations, and one of the recommendations specifically targets the $500,000, which, by the way, is the same amount of money that was apportioned to do the expansion on the rec center. Let me read this. The slowdown of revenue from this community is temporary. Construction should begin sometime in the future, but it's difficult to know when. Of course it's going to come in the future, but it could take 10 years. Yeah, this is great stuff. Out of abundance of caution, management recommends that all discretionary spending be limited to $500,000. $500,000. And what's the amount of money they want to spend on the expansion of the rec center? All of our money. Basically all of the money that we have for discretionary spending. And who's behind that? Our very own special consultant that was hired by her husband, Jan Pizzi. Here you go. See how it starts to make sense. I'm not done. It's going to get even better in a minute. The improvements in the plan are non-discretionary and must be completed in order to maintain the health, welfare, and safety of the community. This is just a little bit newer document. I'm going to get over this, okay? Now, because this takes a turn for the ugly pretty fast. So, this talks about all the debt. I'm going to post this on my website because documents are king. And when you get done reading them, I know who you're going to be voting for. And I want to thank you in advance. Because what I said was true. Term, 10 years with payments based on 29 years amortization. Purchase 1 and Purchase 2 will I don't know this word, contornimus, and will have a final due date 10 years from the closing date. March 23rd, 2026 is the due date. If on that date, the prior due date, the district has not optionally redeemed both Purchase 1 and Purchase 2 in whole, then the interest rate of the outstanding principal of both 1 and 2 shall automatically convert on the due date to 12%. Bam! It goes skyrocketing. We're at 3, it shoots up to 12. They didn't tell us that, did they? Yep, that was a fun one. I like reading that one. That made me really happy. So now, guess how they get to pay back any early payments? Once a year, upon 60 days advance notice, the district will have the option to partially repay up to a total of $1 million. So we can't pay more than $1 million back a year, okay? Of any of the bonds or COPs with proceeds collected from newly activated service taps. They can only pay off advanced payments with tap fee revenue only. Hence why they're all having a panic. Because all of that stuff we talked about earlier is tap fee revenue. And we're not getting it right now. Or at least not all of it. Okay? So then the district will set rates each year at rates sufficient to produce revenues to pay principal and interest of at least 1.25% times the amount due and payable each year for the two financings. That means you're paying 25% more for the bill. And what number did I throw on my website? What number did I tell everybody was going to happen? Come on. It wasn't 25. I said 24. I'm apologizing for the 1%. I want to graciously apologize to 2,652 platted homeowners in Woodman Hills and 5,800 registered voters. I love the default clause, because in a default, if we default, guess what happens? Subject to the discussion of the 10th year above, if the lease is not renewed, the district is required to vacate or surrender possessions of related leased property. It goes right back. This is so great. I'd love to know who wrote this, because I would have never signed this. I can't believe it. We not only gave up our assets, but if we don't comply with the terms of this agreement, we lose everything. Let me say it again in writing. Be on my website right here on page 4. Now, this isn't my document, and it was posted on Lindbless's website, so don't go too crazy on this. But if this is right, and I would have no reason to suspect that it isn't. Yeah, that's not good. We not only don't own it anymore, but then if we default, they just take everything. So we have nothing. Sorry. I'm not laughing because it's tragic for us. I'm laughing because I said this was going to happen on my website 3 years ago, and you all spit in my face, laughed at me, called me everything but a saint, and here it is right here in black and white, and I'm just, now here's where it gets better. Now, scheduled sources and use of funds. We have $11 million $1 in the bank, so it's about 12 million something now, okay? We have to use 3.5 for a water storage fee. We have to 1.7 for a lift station. And then we have a water system at $1.5 million. We have to put in, we have to reserve for upsizing a water line in the Tamlin station, $1.8 million. Guthrie well for drilling new ones is 1.6. And then I'm not really worried about the operating thing, but you'll love this number. It leaves us negative $1.7 million to do what we need to do. We're going to be $1.7 million according to this. And that's just not my documents. Review of current capital improvement needs, okay? This is outstanding. And I'm gonna hit the big one. The second portion of this budget for making needed repairs and upgrades to the underdrain system. This will include creation of certain outlets to reduce required replacement water and also address the problems that have arisen from undersized systems. Our current estimate for the underdrain repair is $250,000, which Mr. Pitsy let out of the bag is $247,000. I'm going to go with more than that, but it doesn't matter because what happened is Woodman Hills kicked the can down the road for 14 years or something of that number in that old case, and now we're having to pay the price here, us, now. And this money wasn't budgeted, and we don't have a choice. Ben, we need a 3.7 upgrade for some other stuff. And we need well extensions, replacement plans, water system connections. We still need the anticipated mutual aid connections that have been contemplated in the past. These are important for us both politically and in the annual tie-in support. Current cost, 150 grand. I don't know what that is. Got to find out what that is. But let me help you with something. There's a $200,000 thing here for water pump stations, water pipeline upgrades for $350,000. But the lovely one, the best one of all, an overall parallel of the Guthrie would be a $5 million undertaking. It could be phased in to some degree by relieving certain portions of the phased approach, but anyways, adding certain inputs along the time of Tamlin. Alternative is implemented, potential cost is reduced, but it cannot meet ultimate needs. This is great, guys. What have they been hiding from us? How foobarred we are financially. And that's all there is to it. Not my words, not my documents. Now I'm going to say it. I told you so. I knew they were hiding something. And that's why the meeting shut down. That's why they stopped the financial records. That's why they stopped Cora. That's why they wouldn't let out the lease agreements. That's why they wouldn't tell us where the stuff was going. And that's why they tried to do this dog and pony show to do an extension on a rec center, when in reality that $500,000 is all of the discretionary money we got. And guess who took it all to attempt to work on the rec center? Just a hint, wasn't me. So to Anthony Pizzi and your consultant employee wife, good luck with the money. I'll tell you what, when everybody realizes how bad their bills are about to go up, I won't be the one who's getting his door kicked in, and that's going to be the best news of all time. You guys, this is so great. Hence the reason why they're trying to fight so hard to get back on the board, because there was no way they didn't want this information out in the public. Folks, good night from Mr. Pace, candidate for the Woodland Hills Metro District Board. If you want to know who to vote for, well, good luck, because you know where I stand on why I want to get elected, and I can fix this. They won't.